Hello everyone and welcome to MBH's Principals Live event. So this is an event we do every quarter where we get to hear from some of the business owners in MBH Corporation's group and learn a little bit more about them and also about their businesses and what's going on in their businesses. It's really great to see you all again. Happy New Year. I think we're all excited about 2022 and have some wonderful things to share. So hopefully you'll find this really interesting and enjoy listening to what everybody's got to say. My name is Vicky Sylvester. If you haven't seen me before, I am the CEO of Acacia Training, who is one of the companies in the group. And I also represent the principals on the board of MBH in supporting them to have a voice at board level. Since the last event, we have had a new company join. So I know Dave will be watching. A huge welcome to David and Caroline Williams from Approved Air, who have joined us as part of the engineering vertical. Unfortunately, they couldn't be here today. However, they will definitely be on the April event, so you'll be able to hear more. But if you do want to know more about Approved Air, do go to our website at www.mbhcorporation.com. Or alternatively, I'm sure some videos will start to pop up on the YouTube channel over the next few months. But be rest assured, Dave will be here next time we're here. If you do have any questions, do feel free to pop them in the chat. We will try to answer some questions towards the end. Or alternatively, feel free to drop me an email. It's victoria.sylvester@mbhcorporation.com. And do note Sylvester's with a Y. People get that wrong quite often. So who are welcoming today? Well, we've got Kevin Potter from Gill Prime, David Hunter from ADT and Take Me Group. Mike Gittins is here from Intercity Taxis. So Mike's been in the group now, for 6 months. So it'd be really interesting to find out a little bit more about how that 6 months has been. Kieran is here from KS Training. Melissa Shea is here from Meeting of the Minds. Joe Turner's here to talk about what we've been doing over at Acacia and also UK Sports. And Vicky Smith's here from Samuel Hobson House. So a brilliant lineup and all got loads of wonderful things to share with us. So let's get going. I'm going to, first of all, bring Melissa up to the screen, live from the US, and a nice time, actually, for the US as opposed to some of our meetings. So how are you? How are things with you?
Excellent. Yeah, the U.S. is doing good. It's a great time for us over here. Things are starting to loosen up a little bit, even though I'm in New York, which does have one of the stricter mandates going on. It's still, we had an event last night, so it's really positive. Very excited about 2022.
Yeah, fab. And so just for people, because we do these every quarter, sometimes I think it's quite easy to forget about what some of the companies do. So just remind investors a little bit more about your company, what it does, and then we can talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so some things about us is Melissa Jeanette Shea. We are the realty or the real property vertical of MBH. We focus on real estate in the United States. So we do 4 things. We do education, we do networking events, we do funding, so commercial funding for deals, and we have a brokerage that sells the real estate. So we are actually going to be on the platform in 2022 and rebranding as Everyday Realty Services going forward. So we work on supporting people that want financial independence through real estate, and that's really what we do.
Wow! And what made you set up your business right from day one? What drove you into this industry?
September 11th, when I saw the towers collapse. I had a travel agency at the time. Like most of us, were serial entrepreneurs. And so I saw literally, I'm in New York. That's where my business is. I saw how it collapsed literally one day. I wanted something with more stability. And so real estate does that. I'm really excited that it's very similar. That was a local impact. 9/11. I mean, it had a global impact in some respects, but travel didn't stop for the rest of the world. It just really mostly centrally to the US and more specifically to New York. But what I saw was that fear base like we have now crippled the industry, but the towers were rebuilt. There was insurances on everything. And it made me think that real estate might be a more secure vehicle. And so I went back to going into real estate investing. That was in 2011. So 2003, I started buying properties. We have over 300 units in our portfolio, but on the MBH platform, we focus on the operating parts of the business. And
Yeah.
so we naturally have that feed in there. And I really saw how families were impacted by an event change like that. And I'm really excited that I was able to provide the education. And now with COVID hitting, it's a similarity. And now we're better prepared to handle the fear of other people losing their jobs and stuff like that. And we're training them how to be real estate investors. And we're providing those services for them. And it's been very rewarding over the years, very rewarding.
Wow, it sounds rewarding and very empowering for people. It's like people are at the heart of what what you've built for them and with them. And it's really interesting that I think all of us have had experiences where previous events have kind of impacted decisions or made us more resilient to the next event that's come around. And I know one of the things I've definitely felt in the group is how positively we all addressed it, and how we all looked at it. So that's amazing to hear. So 2022's here.
Yep.
We've all been excited about 2022. I think there's been a buzz around when's 2022 coming, and we can hopefully start to see some different movement in a different direction. So what plans have you got this year? What are you looking to do? And what are your goals with your business?
So we have lined up 3 strategic acquisitions that we want to buy. We want to buy a real estate school. Licensing us as a real estate school will give us a platform to attract more agents for our brokerage, as well as opportunities for funding for deals. So real estate school, a larger brokerage. I have discussions with them later on today. So we've identified 3 of them. So it's another brokerage, another a real estate school, and a funding company. So we want to acquire another funding company. That's on our agenda for 2022 is the mergers and acquisitions.
Wow. And I know when you first joined the group, that was one of the things you had this real vision for your organization to drive those. And so how will that change your business? If you achieve those goals and you get those acquisitions you're looking for, what are you then hoping? How's that going to change your business?
Well, for the long-term benefit is that this message that's so important, so passionate, I think that's one distinguishing characteristic you'll find of principals of MBH is that they have such a passion for what they believe in. And so I really believe in this mission. And so our goal is right now, I've impacted over 150 lives with being able to convert going into either full-time real estate or using that as a supplemental income. I think this allows a much larger national reach because right now we only are centralized to Long Island. And so now this gives us a natural floor print to take over the Northeast and the East Coast of the U.S.
Wow. So really using that MBH model to build and grow and, expand.
Expand in ways I never thought was possible. I didn't see the vision of how I could do that. And now MBH has given me the platform of how, and it's very easy to attract companies to come on board.
Wow. I'm really excited about that then. So in 12 months time when we're going, it's 2023, we'll be sat here going, look, all this wonderful stuff you did during 2022. So fabulous. It sounds really, really exciting. I'm going to bring Vicky in. So Vicky is from Samuel Hobson. So it's all the ladies here. Vicky, I don't know if I think you're on mute just yet. There you go. So really good to see you. Obviously, last few years, you're in residential care, been a huge challenge. But just to remind investors about Samuel Hobson, what it is, what it does, that'd be great if you don't mind sharing.
Yeah, no, of course. So like Vicky said, I'm Vicky and I'm the principal care manager of Samuel Hobson House, which is a residential care home in Staffordshire in the UK. We care for residents over the age of 65 who either have a mental health illness, dementia, or just elderly frail. So like Vicky says, 2021, past 2 years, they have been really, really challenging. And I've been on many calls with principals saying, oh, it's really hard at the minute, but fingers crossed, 2022, we're doing good. The home's in a good position. We've not lost no staff, so we've retained all the staff, and we're currently at full occupancy, which is really good. And even to the point where we've got a waiting list. I think what's good for the care sector that's come out of COVID is the recognition. So people, it used to be quite an unskilled job as people saw it. I think people now, the perspectives change and they realise just how important it is for carers, you know what I mean? They're so important, and that is something good that's come of it. So to recognise the carers in our home, we're going to be implementing this year the real living wage.
Wow.
So, yeah. So something really, I mean, we have been looking at it for quite a few years now, but just not been in the position. Whereas this year we are in the position to be able to do that, and why not give it back to the care staff who've supported us to keep the business going over the past two difficult years.
Yeah, and do you know what? That is an amazing achievement, because in the UK we have the national minimum wage, which is a wage that the government suggests should be, well, don't suggest, they mandate is given as the legal minimum wage. But we also have something called the real living wage, which is the wage that takes people out of poverty and above that line, and you know, makes them more economically sustainable for their lives. And the sector is really challenging to get to that point. So for you to actually have come off the back of the last 2 years and got the business to that point where you're in a position to do that is actually a huge achievement, and I'm sure will be very well received. Do you think that will then, you know, help you with your retention, recruitment, attractment of people? You know, we know
I think it will. I mean, we've always had like really good staff retention at Samuel Hobson. We've got like a really positive culture there. We always have. I mean, I've been there now for just over 10 years, and it is really positive culture. But what I hope it does is I hope it attracts other staff, other people who didn't necessarily think that care was the profession that they wanted to go in, and to join our team. That's what I'm hoping. And I hope it also, the staff that we who are currently working in the home, I hope it makes them feel like they're recognised for what they do, for the wonderful work that they do. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure it will. Yeah. I'd be very, very surprised if it doesn't. But so just thinking about the last few years, you know, has been lots of challenges. And this is a question for both of you. I might go to you first, actually, Melissa, if that's okay. But obviously, amongst all these challenges, there's also been lots of positives. You know, and the question really is, what positives are you going to try and keep? You know, what is it you don't want to lose, that, you know, these positive things on your business that you now want to continue to take and drive forward, or maybe even build on? You know, have you got any examples of things where, you know, this difficult situation actually has resulted in also some positives for you guys?
One that comes right off the bat for me was when it all first happened, banks got extremely nervous, and they're very finicky as it is. So they stopped and froze all the funding immediately. Right. 60 days, no funding. And so I had investors that were in deals literally going to closing, and the bank would pull the money out from underneath them. And so I went to our community, our networking association, and I created a community over the years. And I went to them and said, hey, listen, we're about to face rough times. Who has capital that wants to get this return on investment? So we pay our investors anywhere from 7 to 10% rate of return on it. And I was able to raise last year over $7,300,000 just from our community to help fund when banks didn't. And what it did was create a business model within our company that we actually make a little bit more money, but it created a sense of community between our investors that are our cash investors and our sponsors who do the fix and flips and the buy and holds. And so that was a really great thing that came out of COVID, is that when the proverbial, crap hit the fan, we all pulled together as a community and helped each other out, and everybody made money off of it because the market went unexpectedly high in real estate. So everybody made money last year, in that respect. Our investors made money as well as our sponsors. So I was very happy about that. And that's a business model that's now implemented because of COVID in our company.
Wow, that's amazing. I didn't even know that. And we see each other quite often. That's absolutely phenomenal. You should be shouting that from the rooftops. And what about you, Vic? Have you got anything that, really came through that you really want to take forward and continue to build on?
Yeah, so going back to the staff again, I'm really focusing on the staff at the minute. Their well-being. So they were working long shifts. Well, we all were. We were all putting in long shifts and things like that. And I think it's their well-being that we really needed to focus on. So we're doing a well-being initiative, and we're just in the starting process of that. And that is something that I want to take into 2022 to support us to improve on the culture, on the already good culture that we've got, but to improve on that, and for the staff to feel recognised again, because it's them that makes the business work.
Yeah, and you're right. I think the whole sense around well-being, and I don't think this is just for the care industry. I think this is many industries. People want different lives off the back of the last couple of years. We've seen it as an education provider. They want more flexibility. They want that ability to have more family time. So things have changed, but that well-being has really ramped up on the agenda, and their expectations on businesses and employers, I think, has changed. But particularly for carers, where you are, I think it's going to be really, again, another thing when recruitment's going to be difficult in the industry. You've put that work in to make sure that those people stay with you. So
and really, it's about what matters to them. So what I might perceive as being good for their well-being, I may be completely wrong. So it's putting sort of the onus on them to give their opinion and to tell me what more we can be doing for them to support them.
Yeah, fabulous. So really good to hear from you both, ladies. Please do stay just in case there's any questions at the end. But I'm going to bring in Kevin from Guild Prime. So hi Kevin, how are you?
Hi Vicky, yeah, I'm good, thanks.
Yeah, everything good with you over at Guild Prime?
It is, yes, yeah, it's crazy busy, but it's good. Yeah, certainly good start to the year.
Fab. So just like the others, Kevin, I think because quite a few people may not have seen us for a while or heard about what the companies do for a while, just remind investors what your company does and what kind of activities you do.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so I'm the CEO of Guild Prime Specialist Contracts. We're a high-end fit-out company. We're based in Essex in the UK. We work across Europe, the whole of the UK, for some of the finest blue-chip retail brands, Premier League football clubs, sporting venues, five-star hotels, and restaurants, and world-renowned architects, as well as some very affluent private individuals.
Wow. And yeah, I've seen some of your work. When I go on your website, I'm always slightly jealous and think, I wish my house looked like the amazing work that you guys do over at Guild Prime. So 2022, what's your plans this year? What's it looking like, compared to 2021, 2020? Have you got any exciting things in the pipeline to share?
Yes, I mean, this is, say, the start of 2022. We've got the largest order book that we've ever had. I've been going, so I keep saying 35 years, but it's 37 years now. We just had 35th anniversary during lockdown, but yes, those 37 years. We've got the largest order book that we've ever had. So this year, we've already got more orders on the book for this year than we've done for the whole of last year. And last year was a good year for turnover. So yeah, this year is just looking amazing.
Wow. And last time we met, I think we did talk a little bit about, trying to get people back into the business, recruitment, and all this kind of thing. Is that now eased? Are you now seeing pressure lifted on that and more people coming back into work?
No, it's still, I mean, the construction industry is incredibly busy at the moment. Recruiting is a problem, but we've got a very good reputation, so we can get people to come across to Guild Prime quite easily. We're opposed to some of the larger companies. as you say, some of the work that we do, some of the clients we work for, we've got a great reputation. So, and yeah, we've got a high retention rate for our staff. We've got Linda, who's our health and safety and compliance officer. I mean, it's her 20th anniversary this year. So it's just, keeping hold of the staff we've got, and we are bringing in some new staff. We've had 3 new members start just the end of last year and started back in January. So we are gearing up. We've got a new QS just about to start as well. So we're fully staffed up now and ready for the influx of work.
Good, because you're going to need them by the sounds of all this work that's coming through. And just to say, I know I dropped you a message this morning because I spent some time with Shamima, who's one of your team, and she's absolutely amazing. Some of the work she's doing around environmental and social initiatives. She's just a little star, I think, and she's really sounds like she's putting some huge things in place for you guys as well over there. She's a gem.
Yeah, she's doing amazing work. Yeah, she's certainly one for the future. Yeah, got high hopes for Shamima. She's doing great. She's working on her marketing as well. So she's done phenomenal. She's been on with us just about a year, but it's great. What she's done is fantastic. So yes, we'll be looking after Shamima.
bringing in some really good talent. But I think that's the thing. The marketplace has offered some really good talent as well, hasn't it? Because there's been so much movement and shifting around that, there are challenges, but equally there has been this pool of talent that is really high quality talent as well. Yeah, and
although there's so much work about in the construction industry this year, but there was a few companies that faltered last year. So there is, some good talent out there that wouldn't normally be there. So and we've been lucky in that regard. We've picked up some good guys. So we're ready to go for this year. And then,
is that my internet or Kevin's? I brought you on, Kieran.
I think it's Kevin's because I can hear you. You're a little bit blocky, but I think Kevin just froze there.
That's fine. I'll add him back when he comes back. But yeah, really good to hear everything over at Guild Prime's doing really well. So welcome, Kieran. How are you? Start off. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great, Vicky. I am all good. Very excited about 2022 and the year ahead. And I think that I'm picking that up really from all the different principals in the MBH group as well. It just feels as if maybe this is just collectively across the whole economy. I think we've all come to that point now where we know actually we've kind of got ahead of COVID now. We've got all the tools in place. We've all adapted our businesses to cope and respond with things like lockdowns and things like downturns and things like that. And we're just ready for the year ahead. And so I'm really excited about 2022 because the last 2 years have been a challenge and difficult and stressful. And certainly at KS now, we can see that 2022 is going to be an excellent year relative to really 2021 was when we took the hit for COVID. Strangely enough, 2020, the year COVID actually landed and became a real problem for the world, wasn't that bad for us. We actually had a really good year. That's because of the nature of our business. You kind of feel the pain when you have difficult times a little bit further down the track. So we took that hit in 21, adapted and responded, and sort of, made the changes that we needed to. And of course, all those changes have now made us much stronger, much more resilient and flexible and capable of really delivering in the year ahead. So we're really excited now, and we just want to get on with it. I think everyone's just sick of lockdowns and everything else, and everybody just wants to grab 2022 by the throat and really make it work.
Yeah. So just remind people watching about KS training. What does it do? And just remind everybody about that.
Okay. So we're a provider of apprenticeships in the health and social care space primarily in England, in the UK. And we've been around now for just on our 10th year anniversary. We have direct contracts with the Education Skills Funding Agency, which is the main kind of government departments for funding all education in the UK. So we have direct contracts, and it's nothing more complicated than that. So we provide apprenticeships at all levels within the locations and the market that we work in. So right through to from new staff coming in as young people, as trainee carers, right through to executive management in care agencies, nursing homes, and the larger care providers. And yeah, it's buoyant is how I would describe it at the moment. I think that the care sector obviously took the brunt of COVID, as Vicky kind of alluded to, and just to pick up on that, she's right. The care sector really stood on in the last 2 years and delivered on behalf of the whole country. And what we're seeing is that the owners, the managers, the kind of senior staff are now really taking the training of their staff seriously, because it's a crucial part of staff retention, making sure that people are really engaged with developing their skills and their knowledge. And of course, they're looking for experienced providers that can come in and do that for them. And so we're really, as I say, excited about what the year ahead's got for us in that market.
Yeah. So what are your plans for 2022 then? What is it you're looking to achieve? What are your, one or two key goals that you really want to do this year?
Okay. Well, we don't want to overcomplicate things. Okay. So what we really want to do, we just want to grow our EBIT by 30%. We do want to bring on 2 new apprenticeship areas, so business and management. But again, these can be easily applied into the care sector, because, as you'll know, a care service isn't just carers. It is a business, and there are managers in there, and there's a massive untapped pool of opportunity there where we can go wider than just the actual care qualifications, and our team can adapt to delivering them quite effectively and quite quickly. So bring on 2 new apprenticeship lines, and then also open up 1 more funding stream beyond apprenticeships. If we can do that in 2022, diversify our income a little bit from just apprenticeships into a second funding stream, grow the EBIT, and grow the actual offer to our employers, that's more than enough for this year ahead. And I think that's well within our grasp.
Brilliant. And obviously we're starting to see what different changing things employers are going to need as well. So I think in education, you're well positioned, aren't you, to, respond to that change in requirements and different things they're going to need. So really interesting. I'm going to bring in Joe as well. Sorry, Kieran, go on.
Well, I was just going to say, in terms of those changes in the marketplace, companies like us and Acacia and other companies of that nature, we're just well placed to take advantage of that, leverage that, because we're not big college institutions that take 12 months to adapt to changes in the market. We're flexible, we're quick, we can adapt, and we can respond in a way that public institutions just can't get there.
Yeah. No, I understand, and the colleges had a lot of challenges too. I've got a lot of friends in the college space, and but they're also coming through the other side with some strength as well. So I'll welcome Joe. Hi, Joe. How are you?
Very well. I'm good. Thank you.
So just to let people know that are watching, Joe's a director over at Acacia Training. So me and Joe work really closely together, and I thought it'd be really good because I don't get to showcase my own company sometimes. So not that I'm jealous of all you guys and all this attention you get, but tell us about Acacia Training, what they do, and then we can talk a little bit more about the plans for 2022. And it's a good test for you, isn't it? Us being on here together to be able to do that.
Yeah, I better get this right, hadn't I? As I'm in trouble. Acacia Training, similar to Care's Training, we're a private training provider in the UK, predominantly based in England. We have a number of funding streams from those at 16 years old all the way through to apprenticeships, and we're specialising in a number of key areas. So care, as been mentioned by Vicky and by Kieran, is probably our bread and butter at the moment. That's where we specialise in. Health, sports, beauty, and moving into employability and IT and digital. They're the sectors we currently will work across. Some of those are new. So some of the employability-based programs are new for us as a provider. And that's really come around from the pandemic. I know one of your questions may be, how has COVID affected us? And so as an organization, we are very focused on succession planning and apprenticeships for those looking to take the next step in their career. But the pandemic's brought about, kind of a huge demographic of individuals who are looking for that first step onto employment, or for those who've been misplaced. So maybe some of their sectors have closed or they've been put on furlough. So we have a number of schemes, Kickstart being one of those that was introduced during the pandemic, but also AEB funding, adult education funding, which enables those learners displaced to take their first step into a career and then progress from there. So it's been an interesting year.
Yeah, I know we've certainly done well on procurement, and that's definitely allowed us to broaden our offer, and support some of those people, harder to reach in the jobs market, for example. And, I know actually we've seen a lot of growth in that part of the business, which in turn is feeding the other part of the business. And I know we're going, again, we did some tactical acquisitions, and that motivation for that's picked up again, as well as businesses are starting to settle down. So we're for an interesting year. So what exciting things is Acacia doing that I haven't mentioned during 2022?
Well, I think it's going to be the focus on those pre-employability programs. So there's a few sectors we're looking to expand into. One of those is going to be digital and IT. I think everyone in most industries now has become more adept at using IT, digital technologies. There are still some industries that are a little bit behind, and also staff and employees. So we've got a real focus on upskilling workforces to be able to use digital to provide a real impact within the working environment. Driver programs. So here in the UK, drivers, there's a huge driver shortage. No one's driving vehicles. There was a bit of a problem before Christmas. No one could get toys at Christmas. So looking to how we can support those that are unemployed into good careers, paying good wages in terms of being a courier or HGV driver. And then we really want to focus on these courses that enable people to move into employment. And although education is a small part of that journey, the next part would be liaising with employers and learners and almost linking them together as a recruitment service. So that full 360 approach, whereby we can approach individuals who are displaced, offer them education and confidence building programs, and then link them with a suitable employer for both employment and continuation of study whilst they're employed. So that's the key agenda really this year. And I suppose the last one would be military leavers. That's still high on our agenda. So looking at LCAS funding and looking at those who are leaving military, moving to civilian life, and what that looks like and how they can use their existing knowledge to parallel into careers outside of the military. So it's an exciting year.
It is exciting, and it's that whole social mobility, social justice piece, isn't it? And I know that we've also done a lot of work about weaving things around the environment and social into our curriculum. We've done it for a couple of years, but more embedded in the curriculum this year, so we can be constantly raising awareness and supporting those individuals and the businesses they work in to kind of have those kind of focus as well. So it's good fun, and a passion of mine. So of course I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to bring Kevin back. I think his technology is now all sorted. You're back.
Yeah, I didn't know whether you lost me or I lost you then, but it went down.
I didn't either. So we had the staring at the screen face, wondering if it was me, but no. But happens to me all the time. So while you're all here, it's a question to all of you. I'll go to you first, Kevin. Off the back of COVID, what positives are you taking forward? What positives happened in your business that you're now going to try and retain and continue to drive forward?
Well, some of the main positives is some of the IT infrastructure that we was imposing us to put in place so that people can work from home. And the work from home culture is, it's a lot more people, they prefer it. And we've sort of tailored that now to work well. So we've got a couple of days in a week where we've got a lot more people in the office, so that we are Having the team meetings in person is much better. I think as long as we can maintain that and let people carry on working from home, that works fabulous for us. And it's better for a lot of individuals. And some of the IT solutions that we've put in place. Some of the video technology we've got, so clients can view the sites from overseas, so they're not coming to do site visits. That's going to stay in place, and we're leading the way in lots of places for that. So that's something that's going to stay with us, and it's something that the clients are coming back to us now. No one else is providing it, so they're coming to us because we can provide those services. So it's been lots of positives. It's been a tough last year, but this year all the projects that were stopped are now going again, and there just seems to be so much confidence back in the market now, and everybody's just getting the projects going.
Yeah, we're feeling that in our industry too. That confidence and that fear's gone. I would say, they're not as concerned or worried anymore. So it definitely helps in when confidence is improving across the board. So same question to you then Kieran. What positives are you taking and want to keep hold of and make sure you don't lose off the back of the last few years?
Well, in our sector, it's got to be that shift to digital delivery, because as you know, and Joe will know, our industry and our sector in apprenticeships had a kind of a legacy issue in the sense that the delivery model was fairly antiquated, and there was a whole national workforce of tutors and assessors who really, kind of really didn't embrace digital approaches and things like Zoom and Teams, and they wanted to go out and see learners individually, one-to-one. And whilst that is effective, and we will never throw that out, we will always have that as part of our approach, getting them to shift to having more digital delivery, more online interaction with their students was really hard. And then COVID, obviously, as soon as that came along and they realized, well, your jobs now depend on this, the pivot was breathtaking. It was like overnight, literally everybody just embraced it and said, okay, we're going to go with this. We're going to see how this works. All the learners embraced it because they knew it was the only way they could actually get access to tutors and get that kind of delivery and keep making progress with their apprenticeships. And so that genie is not going back in that bottle ever. And we're really pleased about that because it reduces our costs in terms of just, fuel costs, transport costs. It increases the efficacy of our tutors. They can see more learners more regularly and provide more quality support to them. And we're not saying that we're going to withdraw face-to-face, support. That will be a feature. But this blended approach now, we will be taking that forwards, and that is a massive gain for companies like ourselves in this sector. So that's the key thing, I think, from the pandemic. Crisis is the mother of invention, isn't it? And that's real benefit to us and our learners. So that's the main thing really that I would take forwards. And also just that support from the MBH companies. We've all come suddenly a lot closer. We've been in a shared catastrophe, a shared crisis. And so we've all had to step in and lean on each other. And certainly in the education group, we suddenly shifted towards kind of on a war footing, everybody being like, that communication just went through the roof, and the relationships have been are now really strong, really developed, and really showing up as effective. So that's for us what I think are the key takeaways.
Yeah, and I can relate to both of those. I mean, the digital side, we've been trying to implement things and then they were just accepted. But I'd also say it's probably a little bit broader in just that resilience and adaptation to change. Yeah. I think people have just become more used to that and maybe, less worried about some of the things that are not as big a deal. So that perception, for example, we can all get stressy about a technology, for example. And we've actually started to learn that we don't need to get worked up about this stuff. It's not that big of a deal. And, really have that different focus. So that's really, really interesting. And I'd agree with the camaraderie, 100%. I think we all just pulled together, and we have got our first face-to-face event, hopefully this year, where some of the principals will be the first time they've actually met each other face-to-face. But it will seem like a bunch of old friends all coming together, I'm sure. So I'm looking forward to that. So same question to you then, Joe. What is it from the last few years that you hope Acacia, or you're going to be working towards Acacia keeping on top with?
I think you've answered the digital innovation and embracing digital technologies has been pivotal to survival, during this catastrophe, as you called it, Kieran. So that's been integral, really, and education can be slow to adapt with digital technology. So that's been really, really key for us. And I think the other two would be employee well-being and also the flexibility of your workforce or your working time frame. So enabling those to work from home or to work from, as Acacia has, a flexible office environment where it's more like a hub. So it's a hub of activity where it's not your 9 to 5 in an office. It's a collaborative environment where people travel into a workspace to collaborate, but they have the flexibility to work from home. And I think that workforce well-being is integral. I think we've all kind of come to that realization that there are more important things than really flat out working and traveling to work, when you can quite easily work from home and work just as hard, have the same outputs and be just as efficient. So workforce flexibility and embracing technology, and I think also diversification. So understanding that diversification is key to any business and adapting to what lies ahead. So there's quite a few there: adaptability, diversification, flexible workforce, and understanding workforce well-being and technologies that we'd never used previously.
Yeah, and I think, it definitely brought that sense of community, didn't it, into a business, that, everybody's in the same boat, everybody's pulling together, people are more willing to help one another, they reach out more to each other to see what support they need. And I think culturally, and a bit like Vicky was saying, we've always had a really positive culture, but I think it really, really brought that culture together. And, I always describe it as a sort of a family culture in our business. Families can get through tough times. And I think you find that in a lot of small business, they've worked together for a long time, they're your work family, and you behave like a family when the chips are down, and you do pull together. And I think it's a really unique thing about family businesses and, small businesses that's really special and quite integral to them. Kevin, I'm going to ask you something, because somebody's made a comment on the YouTube channel around the powerful backstory for Melissa. As you pointed out, it's been 37 years. I'm just really interested how you started Guild Prime, why you started Guild Prime, where did that come from?
Long years ago, when I was 12 years old, I was making joinery. I don't know why, it was something I wanted to do, and I was making joinery in my garage at home, selling small pieces of furniture, making skateboards for my friends. And it just, when I was 16, I had my own workshop set up in a parent's garage. When I left school, that's all I wanted to do was just build. I had lots of opportunities. I had scholarships for a couple of different places, which I turned down just to carry on making my own furniture. I got an apprenticeship. I left after just over a year because I knew it all by then. And I just carried on making joinery, just making more and more, getting bigger and bigger, larger projects, and it's just been a constant growth. I've always wanted to do high quality. Everything I want has always been the best. Whatever we could do was the best it could ever be made, and that's the same ethos we've got through the company now. Early days, it's still the same. I'd rather turn over a fantastically finished project than make money on it. But now we do both. It's important to do both. But quality, just making sure, and just been a long growth. So from 12 years old to today.
Wow. So came from a sense of passion as well, which is also something I see across the business owners when I talk to them in the group. So really good to hear from you guys. Do stay on just in case there's any questions at the end. And then I'm going to move to David and also Mike. So welcome to you both. Are you both well?
Very well, thank you, Vicky.
Very well, very good. Thanks, Vicky.
Good to see you both come branded. I can see we've got the ADT Take Me branding. Good to see. Really great to see you. David, remind us about ADT, yourself, your company, when you came into the group and your vision for the company, and just remind investors all about what you do.
Thank you, Vicky, and good afternoon to investors. Yeah, we joined the group August 2019, just pre-COVID. We've come a long way since then. So the vision was the important thing. The taxi trade in the UK is quite defragmented, and we wanted an opportunity to build a network so we could work with like-minded companies on our vertical, which we created within the group, and to share resources, to share knowledge, to share experience, and to use all the talent within the industry under one umbrella. So the Take Me project was about building a network. MBH have helped us with that network, with the companies within the vertical, Mike there from Intercity and Forex, VGT. And then outside of the group, we've continued to develop the network by funding some other acquisitions and on franchising the network. So we're very much in phase one of that project at the moment, building the network. Phase two will be the branding, making a national brand, and also linking everyone with the technology. But already we're up to 2,102 cars.
Wow.
Last week we did over 150,000 passenger journeys, and this wouldn't have been possible without the foundation that MBH has given us. And to be honest, it's not just about working with a taxi company, but people like Melissa, Kieran, who you've seen on the call. We shared knowledge. I mean, some great guys there in the education and training industry, such as yourself, Vicky. You're helping us with mental health at the moment, I believe. We're going to be learning about spotting mental health within stuff and assisting with that. So these are things beyond our kind of talent set that MBH brings us and so on. So from that point of view, we feel very much part of a family. It doesn't, at the end of the day, as entrepreneurs, it doesn't matter whether you're selling a widget, a taxi service, or construction or education, you're still selling a service. So a lot of the fundamentals are the same. Good business practice is the same across the board. And this is what we learn whilst being here at MBH. And obviously without MBH, I wouldn't have met the wonderful Mike, who I shared a pint or two with Christmas, at our Christmas party, who's joined the group as well. And Mike joined the group last year.
Fab. So 2022's here. We've all been waiting for it. What's your vision for this year? What's your goals that you want to achieve by the time you get to the end of this year?
Yeah, I mean, we were affected by COVID in certain sectors because obviously people weren't going out, but we also managed to retain more or less the same profitability because other work took over, such as NHS, school, hospital contracts. School contracts will be still being paid, 100% of their value or 70% of their value. So they became very profitable because there were no drivers to do them and no actual journeys took place. So, but it gave us an opportunity to streamline our businesses and also come up with new products, such as delivery apps and so on. 2022, well, we kind of got a taste of it back in July, August, September, October, when restrictions in the UK lifted and demand and all of a sudden outstripped supply. And we're in that boat. We're short of drivers. Now, driver levels, as Mike will confirm, are coming back up again because we put a lot of our budget into creating taxi academies where we're training drivers and holding their hands. And we changed the culture of the business, drivers as customers, and think, well, how can we, 2 hours recruitment and retention, how can we do that? And obviously we're inspired by the educational element of MBH, where we put together training schools and created the taxi academies. Mike's run a few in Stoke-on-Trent, where he is for himself and the company crew, which we partner with. And we've run them all over the country. And in fact, there's been 2 today, 1 in Leicester and 1 in Plymouth. So, and they're bringing in 30, 40 drivers on those schools. And, probably 10 of those will pass through. So 2022 demand will increase, as it is doing already. Mandates from yesterday, masks and so on are disappearing. We're opening up again. So I can't see now that the touch wood, there'll be any more lockdowns. We're learning to live with COVID. So it's a case of how do we manage that demand? And that's what we're working on at the moment.
Which is not a bad problem to have. how to manage the demand after the few years you've had. So that's brilliant to hear. And Mark, huge welcome to you. It's been 6 months since we last saw you. So I suppose, first of all, how's the last 6 months been? And how have you found being in the group?
The last 6 months has gone very quickly. It's flown by. I feel like I was only doing this with you about 5 minutes ago. It's been a good 6 months. Like David said, we started seeing, like everyone's mentioned, recruitment, retainment. Even Joe mentioned lack of drivers not coming into the industry. That's what COVID did to the biggest thing it did to our business was the drivers leaving the industry because of safety and letting the licenses go, and then it being difficult to get the license back and going down taking 3 or 4 months to renew the badge and that sort of thing. So our focus mainly was get back on track. We survived the big hit of COVID where we thought, are we going to survive this? We did. We looked at our business model, tightened belts where we needed to, like David said, looked at different markets like the NHS and delivering food and drink and all that sort of stuff. So we diversified and kept ourselves going. So we have seen an increase in drivers, which has been a bit of a hard slog. It's made us look at how recruitment has always got to start with retainment. We need to keep the drivers we've got and try and get drivers that are left back. So it's made us, as our little management team here in the city, to look at how we deal with the drivers and how can we keep them, because every company in Stoke-on-Trent is a taxi company in Stoke-on-Trent is busy, and drivers are self-employed, so they can move anywhere and still have the same earning potential. So you upset a driver quite quickly, he'll go somewhere else. So it has been about how do we retain the drivers we've got, making little tweaks here, being more engaged with them, through Facebook, through emails. We looked at David and ADT doing the driver of the month thing, which was really good. We rolled that out. Demand is outstripping supply, so we a little bit of surcharging in peak areas to give drivers a little bit more money in the pocket to stop them going to other companies, and then focusing on drivers that have left, if we can get them back, and also getting new drivers in. And like David mentioned, the Take Me Taxi Academy has been fantastic. Really, we've been a part of that, and like I said, we've rolled out a couple of courses here, which have been very successful. I think we've got 12 drivers now. They've all had the DBSs through. They're just waiting for the badge now. So hopefully we can get them over the line. We've got a course booked next Tuesday, which we're sharing with Westside and Crew, which is also part of the Take Me group, and that's fully booked. I think we've got 30 applicants on there. And these are all brand new drivers who've never done it before. And the whole idea of the Take Me Academy was looking at where can we get new drivers from. Perhaps a lot of people have lost their jobs through the pandemic, or even lost hours and need to, make their income up. So we wanted to sort of like get into that market, and people might think, well, taxi driving, how do you do it? It's expensive. Where do you go to do it? And sort of offer a helping hand and say, look, we'll walk you through. We'll show you how to do it. We'll even fund it for you, so you're not, you're not £400 out of pocket initially before you even start working. And it seems to have worked really well. And like I said, we've got 30 booked on between us and Westside at Crew next Tuesday. So hopefully most of them will pass, and we'll get them a taxi badge and get them driving, because at the moment, the earning potentials for drivers are really, really good.
So a true sense of collaboration with some of the things you've been doing there. I could hear you referencing all sorts of different parts of the business. And it is interesting because, David talked about how we can mirror things in other industries that you're doing across the group. And even at that level where you've done your drivers academy, we did a similar thing to upskill tutors. So we knew there was a shortage, therefore we need to train them up. So we did a transition to teach program where we teach them, guarantee them a job interview, all paid for by us, so that isn't the barrier for them. And then we've picked up new members of staff by doing that program. So a very, very similar thing to what you've done, but it's just really interesting to hear, because we're different industries, but have actually come up with similar approaches to address the problem. So back to you, David. What is it you want to keep off the back of last year in your business? That one of the positives that you really want to keep and drive forward as you go through this year?
I think it's been the culture shift. It is very driver focused and staff focused. We're a people business. There's no real fixed assets. So it's investment in people really, is that when we were busy and we concentrated on getting contracts in. But what the pandemic and last year has taught me is actually it's the people within the business that are important. So it's the retention element. So before, we've got we've got the customer, but without the driver's are the ones that actually put the money on the desk, get the money across the line. So we used to have an attitude, oh, they're no good, just get rid of them, we'll get the next one in, whereas I think, it's the retainment now. We value our drivers so much more now. So that is the one key element, other than the savings we've made, and we've looked at costs and reduced advertising, made optimized advertising. So we've looked at how many dollars we get per advert and the cost it is to the bookings. Those sort of things we never looked at before. We just used to take a punt and think, well, that didn't work, never mind, we've got enough money. So it made us tighten our belts. But the key thing is the people within the business, that we've learned to value them a lot more.
Yeah, it is interesting, isn't it? Because it made us all sort of really have a deep dive into all our businesses. That perhaps it gave us an opportunity to spend some time to really do that deep dive, and like you say, look at things perhaps we've not looked at for a long time, or look at how we could do something different. And in a way, your business feels like a new business to some degree, because there's just been some really good changes that you can put in. So yeah, brilliant. Really good to hear from you guys. I'm going to have to wrap it up because actually our hour is nearly up and I'm very conscious last time I ran over. So thank you both. Really good to see you. And yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing throughout the year what's going on, and I'm sure everybody watching is as well. So thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vicky.
So that's it. Doesn't an hour absolutely fly when we're listening to all these wonderful stories from the company owners in the group? Really want to thank you for your time. Thank you for watching. Just to say again, if you want to find out more about the companies on MBH, do go to mbhcorporation.com. Alternatively, feel free to follow them. All the companies are on social media under their own brands, or they've got their own website. So do feel free to go and have a deep dive. And any questions, do drop me an email at victoria.sylvester@mbhcorporation.com. Really good to see you. Thank you very much. And we look forward to seeing you at our next event, which is in April. So stay safe and take care, everybody. Thank you.